Hey, fourth graders. So last week we read a text about transportation over time, and I gave you a prompt last week that is write an informative essay explaining how the developments in transportation impacted people. So this is going to be my teacher model for you. My prompt is a little bit different. So I'm going to read my prompt and I'm going to code it for you for the topic, which I'm going to box, the focus, which I'm going to underline, and the topic, which I'm going to circle. Woo, we've been out of school for a while. The focus, which I'm going to underline, and our mode, which I'm going to box. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read my prompt to make sure I understand what it says, and then I'm going to code it. So my prompt is write an informative essay in which you explain how the developments of trains impacted people. So a little bit different here. I'm writing about trains. You're writing about overall transportation. Okay, well, first of all, the mode is probably the easiest thing to find. In fourth grade, you're really only going to get informative or opinion. So I'm going to box this right here. I know that I'm going to write an essay, and the style that I'm writing is to give information. That's my mode. I'm not telling you what mode of transportation is my favorite. I'm not telling you a story about a time where my mama was on transportation. No. All I'm doing is I'm giving information. Well, what am I giving information about? It's the topic is the who or the what that you're writing about. Well, for me, fourth graders, I know that my topic is trains. I'm not writing about cars. I'm not writing about boats. I'm not writing about planes or bicycles. I know that specifically the mode of transportation that I'm writing about, fourth graders, is going to be trains. So I'm going to circle that right there. I'm going to code that with a T for topic. And then my focus. Well, I know I'm writing about to give information, and I know I'm writing about trains, but what about trains am I going to focus on? This one time I rode a train? No. Let me reread my prompt and see what my focus should be. What about trains am I writing about? Write an informative essay in which you explain how the developments of trains impacted people. Okay, so here's my focus right here. That developments, that they impacted people. Those are some key words. And right there is my focus, fourth graders, okay? I need to know that the development, and this could be, creating, how when they created trains, it could be invented. Kind of some synonyms for you over here. When trains were first made, as they were being developed, as they were being created and invented, how did the development of trains impact people? Well, that's what I'm going to focus on today. And I already read my text, fourth graders, and I've already kind of thought about, what my details and everything were going to be. But now I'm going to do a plan. Normally we do a four square plan, fourth graders, which is where we break up our paper like this. And we have a B, M, M, E, right? Well, for the purposes of virtual learning, fourth graders, we're actually just going to do a BME. You're welcome to set it up as a four square and just X out this. I've chosen to do mine like this, okay? Now, we know, fourth graders, I'm going to very quickly plan my beginning. And in a beautiful beginning, you have to mention your topic and your focus. So I'm going to quickly jot down those words right there. My topic is trains, and my focus is development of trains impacting people, okay? And I think I'm gonna need to give the writer, or the reader, a little bit more. First of all, we need to let them know what our middle main idea is gonna be. And for my middle main idea, fourth graders, one of the things I noticed when I was reading and I was jotting down all my notes last week was that, the biggest thing about trains is that they can carry a lot of people, big groups of people, really far away, city to city, country to country. That was one of the biggest things that I thought really impacted people, was large groups to different places. So I'm going to write that down as my middle main idea. Large groups, large group travel, okay? And I'm going to give my writing a little bit of oomph, fourth graders. Say it, give your writing a little bit of nice job. I'm also going to add a little bit, just like a little bit more to my beginning to make it really special. I'm going to go ahead and describe my setting. And fourth graders, think about the topic of my essay. What would my setting be? You nailed it. It would be on a train. I'm going to set my reader up to experience what a train. Now, some of you might be thinking, Mr. Monica, I've never been on a train before. That is totally okay, because guess what? You are not writing about trains. I am writing about trains. So, and I'm very, very lucky fourth graders because I've actually been on a train before. All right, so now I'm going to move on to my middle main idea. I know that my middle main idea is that large group travel. I'm going to put that at the top here, and I'm going to circle it so I remember that's my main idea. Now I want about 5 to 7 details on here, fourth graders, to support my middle main idea that it provided large group travel. But I also need to remember to add my own thinking. And just while I'm thinking about it, as I was reading and I'm thinking about describing my setting, I've actually been on a train before. Yes! Which means I have some background knowledge. We call that an anecdote when you tell a short story. So I'm going to just write down here, when, a couple years ago, fourth graders, I went to Japan. And actually, Japan has one of the fastest trains in the world. And I think I can tell a short anecdote about how I traveled through Japan on a train. I think that would add a little bit of oomph to my writing. So that's going to be my original thought. But I'm going to go ahead and jot down some key words. Now remember, fourth graders, you're not copying complete sentences from the text. No, no, no. No copy. Everybody say that? Good. No copy. But I will take key words or key phrases that I need to use in my mighty middle to support my thinking. So first of all, I'm not really sure my reader has a lot of background knowledge on trains. And we have to treat the reader like they're stupid. So I'm going to give them a little bit of background about the inventions of trains, which are actually details in the text. So first of all, in the 1700s, the first steam engine was made. I'm going to write that down. It was also when the first locomotive was made. And locomotives is another word for trains, but it's like an older word for trains. I know that trains provide travel city to city. I'm going to write that down. And then later on in the 1950s, sometimes if there's a date you want to use, I recommend writing the date down just so you don't forget. They were made faster and stronger. Now this doesn't mean, fourth graders, that my trains grew muscles, big, bulging, arm muscles and leg muscles, and can beat up the other trains. It just means that they don't break as easily. Maybe they were made with better material so they don't get damaged as easily or dented as easily. So it doesn't mean that they grew muscles. We also had different kinds of train transportation, like subways, trams, and trolleys. And then I also thought this was so cool. And towards the end of the text, in 2013, so this is pretty modern. I know that we're in 2020 now, but this is pretty modern. It's not that long ago. There was one train that was able to carry 31 million people from Canada and the U.S. When I read that, my mind was blown. 31 million people, that is a lot of people. Notice, fourth graders, I didn't write too many words, just keywords and phrases, and I have about 6 details. I would recommend about 5 to 7 details to support your middle main idea, and as well as adding an original thought. If you have more than one original thought, that's totally fine, but you want a balance of original thought and evidence from the text woven together like a braid. Here's some original thought, here's some evidence, here's some original thought, here's some evidence. You want them to, stop fighting, sorry. You want them to really work together. All right, and in my ending, an elegant end, you really want to re-emphasize one more time to your reader what your topic is, which is trains. You want to restate your focus again, how they impact people. And you want to just give them a little tiny bit more. So I'm just going to say that throughout my text, I really noticed that over time, as trains were developed, which means they got better. So I'm just going to get a little plus sign. more people, more travel. And I'll explain that a little bit more. All right, so that's my BME plan. I've gone ahead and I've coded my prompt and I submitted my BME plan, or I've not submitted, excuse me, I've completed my BME plan for my writing. Fourth graders, this is what I expect you to do today. I expect you to know what your prompt is, your topic focus, and your mode, and then I expect you to upload a picture of your BME for your writing, and tomorrow we will start with our beautiful beginnings. All right, bye fourth graders, see you tomorrow.